and so I just like walked off set and went into a tent and I just fainted, which I've never fainted before in my entire life, and I fainted in the freaking ghost face costume. Hi GQ, I'm Mikey Madison, and this is the beginner's guide to me.
What do you want me to say? Can you understand that now we must go in the fucking plane and fly in fucking Vegas? Get it? You get it?
So we're getting a divorce. You...
Of course! Are you stupid?
It's a very human story. The most important thing to her is like saving her marriage and this life that she feels like she's earned and that is like rightfully hers. And it's this sort of, this fairy tale that she was welcomed into and it's being ripped away from her. And so it's important that she tries to fight for that because she's a fighter and she fights tooth and nail to try to get it back. And then I think at a certain point, what becomes more important is just trying to preserve some of her dignity because she's been so mistreated this entire course of the film by people just because of what she does for a living, just because of what they have sort of like branded her as, which isn't who she is. She's a person.
No, Bartley, it's okay. Just put it. Oh! Stop! Please stop! Stop, please! No, stop!
We filmed the whole, like the home invasion scene over the course of 8 days. And so over those 8 days, I was like, this is a life or death moment for my character. She doesn't know what's gonna happen to her. Like, I mean, they could kill her. It's a fight for her life at the beginning. And then she realizes what's happening, and then it's a fight to save her marriage. I mean, just when right before they call action, you do the things that actors do to get yourself ready, and you just fight as hard as you can. If you're giving everything that you possibly have in that moment and allowing it to be captured, there's not going to be a false note about it, you know? But also, like, you know, I did all of the stunts, Yura and I did those together, and we're really just, like, scrapping with each other. And so, of course, it felt real because part of it was real. I mean, I love Yura. He's a wonderful person, incredible actor. He's an easy person to love. It was just about really trying to ground myself and channel that specific heartbreak and frustration and amalgamation of all the feelings that have been built up inside of her and just try to like feel ready or able to release it in a way. There's so much I love about this story. It's about connection, it's about heartbreak, it's about power, it's about so many things. And I think it's really also kind of up for the audience to interpret what it means to them too. I play such a complicated, interesting woman. I mean, I've played so many wonderful characters. I've been very lucky, but this one, I mean, it's changed my life in so many different ways, not just because of all this that's happening now, but just playing that character. The collaboration that I was able to have as an artist with Sean Baker, the director, was unlike anything I've ever done before. He really welcomed me into his process in such an open way. It was a true collaboration, and I was like, yeah, this is how I want to feel making movies. Sean had seen me in Once Upon a Time, you know, years before Scream came out, and he even told me that he had even gone to see Once Upon a Time again just to see the ending scene, which made me feel very happy and like good. I was 19. I think I had just turned 19 and have always been a huge Tarantino fan. In my eyes, and many, many others, is a maestro at what he does. I think he has completely changed and altered the course of cinema forever with his presence and his artistry. And so I had the opportunity to audition for him in person, and I was excited. I was very nervous. I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna take this moment. I'm gonna pretend like I have the role in these whatever, maybe 5 minutes I have with him, and just have fun and play. I brought in this painting and wore this very extravagant outfit and wrote this poem. I really had fun with it. I ended up getting the role, which was, it felt like winning the lottery. I was given an opportunity to really play a character that I had never played before. She was like batshit crazy and insane and so unpredictable, and to play a character like that at 19, to really feel more like a character actress was, I don't know, I felt something change in me a little bit, like, oh, this is an interesting side to acting that I didn't know existed. I mean, there's not many roles like that for a teenage girl, you know?
But who's this Rick guy?
Jesus Christ, Sadie, get it together! Rick Dalton played J.K. Hill in a cowboy show in the 50s called Bounty Law.
Fuck you, Katie. Sorry I don't know the name of every fascist on TV in the 50s.
I knew about the history of the Manson girls. I had done a ton of research. I knew the character I was playing, the emotional headspace, and I think just the length of time that we were able to film this car scene, which was the first scene that we filmed together. I was able to just kind of get more into that frenetic energy over time, and it just kind of shifted and moved into a place where we're like, oh, this is really fun and unpredictable, and sort of it hit this like level of crazy that just felt right for all of us. Leonardo DiCaprio, I remember sitting in a car, and his character comes out of his house after making a margarita and yells at this like group of hippie kids sitting in a car.
Fix your fucking muffin! And
I'm just kind of getting to sit in the back of the car and like watch this interaction, and every scene was new and different. He was trying things. He was exploring his character. He didn't take it too seriously. I mean, in the sense of something got fucked up, it got fucked up, and I was so young at the time, I think it definitely made an impression on me. I don't even think that I'm being biased because I have a little teeny tiny role in it. I think it is genuinely an amazing film. I think the way that Quentin rewrites history in this film is really interesting and fun, and like also kind of punk rock in a way. He captures the 60s in Los Angeles in a really fun way that only he can. So yeah, I definitely think it's a film that I'm gonna, you know, whenever I have kids or whatever, show them in like 20, 30 years and be really proud to show them. Scream came at a time in my life where I really needed an adventure. It was the middle of the pandemic. I was living with my parents. It was so bleak and felt like so stark and uncreative. And this film came. I had maybe auditioned like 8 months prior, sent in like a quick tape, never heard anything back. And they reached out and were like, oh, we would love you for a character that ends up being Ghostface, and like, how fun would that be? And I was like, oh, yeah, that sounds fun. Like, of course I would want to do that. I've always loved horror film. It's a genre that I like to watch personally, but had never been a part of making. The world had seen that I can play kind of an unhinged character in a way, so they were like, oh, she'd be perfect for this character, who also ends up being like quite unhinged and has this really fun, out of nowhere twist.
You know what else you shouldn't do when there's a masked killer around?
What?
Follow someone into a dark, creepy basement alone. I mean, how do you know I'm not the killer?
So of course I've seen the first Scream film because it is so iconic and such like a classic sleepover movie. And then when I got the film, I was like, well, I'm playing a character who knows so much about the history of all of the previous films, so I need to watch them. And also I was curious, and so I did a little Scream marathon and saw them all. There's definitely a reason why horror films do so well at the box office, and I think it's because everyone gets to come together and have this kind of exhilarating experience that is shared in a space, you know? You're clutching your friend's hand, or you're gasping or screaming, and I think to have that communal experience is part of it.
That's the point, right, Amber?
Right on. Third act, bloodbath, check. Killer's reveal, check. Time for the big finale.
There was one day where I already wasn't like feeling great. Something was kind of like off. I didn't really know what it was. And I put on the ghost face costume, which is like a hooded cape with gloves, and it's all like sealed in kind of. And so like all the like heat was sort of just being sealed in, and I kind of was like not really feeling well. We were about to shoot this like sort of big like reveal scene. So I was like jumping up and down and trying to like get my heart rate up, and I was like, ooh, uh-oh, I think I'm gonna pass out. And so I just like walked off set and went into a tent, and I just fainted, which I've never fainted before in my entire life, and I fainted in the freaking ghost face costume. So they're like, okay, we will continue filming after the weekend. It was fine. I think it was actually kind of a blessing because I was able to take the weekend and just be a little bit more prepared. But I mean, I remember Nev Campbell calling me and being like, you okay? Like, did you eat enough this morning? I was like, yeah, I'm sick or something. And she was like, well, you're not the first person to faint in one of those costumes. So I was like, that makes me feel better.
These things are normal, but you should be ashamed of them.
Why?
A little bit.
You're my mom. I want you to know if I have sex or if I want to get high.
Ah! No, hide things from me, please.
I was 15 and a half when I auditioned for Better Things. I think it was one of my first big auditions. It was really exciting. I was a fan of the creators of the show, and I remember Googling a photo of the creator and thinking, oh, I could totally be her daughter. And so I went in, auditioned. I auditioned a few times, and I got the role. And at the time, it was an absolute dream come true for me to book a pilot, and then for the pilot to be picked up. And of course, the show lasted 5 seasons over the course of 7-ish years. So it was a wonderful job for me.
And then right in the middle of doing a big split, brown poop squirted out of her butt all over the perfect white leotard. Mom!
I didn't grow up with sisters. I have older sisters who are wonderful, but I grew up with brothers, and so it was kind of fun and exciting for me to explore more of that sisterly dynamic. And there was so much about the character and her relationship with her siblings that I didn't understand. I would be reading this script and I was like, they're so mean to each other. Why is she talking to her mom like this? Like, I would never talk to my mom like this. And I thought, no, like I really am going to have to understand this character in a different way. And so I think that working on Better Things, seeing Pamela Adlon, the creator, in so many different positions as an actor, as a director, writer, showrunner. It was really inspiring for me to see that someone can do all of that. And I learned so much on that show. I learned how to be an actor. I learned about work ethic, a little bit about emotional preparation. I learned how to play a character that feels different from who you are. I love the heart that's in the middle of the show. I think that at the end of the day, the relationships between these characters are so real and honest. I remember explaining this to someone while I was playing my character Max, like, I can say the meanest things to my sister, but if someone else says something, I'm gonna like beat the crap out of her or him. It was like that dynamic. It's a show about love. It's about womanhood and girlhood. I've noticed It's been a wide variety of people who have come up to me and said that they love the show, like older people, younger people, mothers and their daughters. And I don't know, I think that there's something comforting about watching a slice of life drama in a way too. Shooting this show, I literally was a girl when I started, and then I left the show a woman, and so I grew up in such a big way. Just, I mean, making that show, it's impactful. Those years of my life they're so formative for a young person, and I spent them working on this TV show. So, gosh, I mean, I remember, I think it was the first season I had a kissing scene, which was terrifying for me. I think I had maybe kissed someone once, like a peck on the lips, but I had never had like a full kiss.
Max! Get off of the boy and come with me right now.
And I had to do that, and it was like scary and also felt very adult. So I'll remember that. We were shooting in Venice Beach at night, and yeah, that was, it's, well, very memorable for me.